Hey everyone, the professor here. Honey, how long have we been married?
Almost 7.5 years?
And how long of that have you been trying to get me to meal plan?
Probably about 6.5.
Were you excited at all at the idea of budgeting?
Not really.
Yeah. But it did have the positive effect that we finally got serious together about meal planning.
I was already serious. It got you serious.
Okay, point taken. Anyway, guys, that's what this video is about. We have started really seriously setting a meal plan to a calendar. The process that we went through, what we decided on, and then every few weeks maybe we'll have another update video where we talk about what we decided to change from our original plan, and then at the end of the 8-week period we will discuss what we see for the next 8 weeks and where we're planning to go in the future.
We have some of our favorite meals, as every family does. A lot of them are more in lines with his taste than mine. For example, like pulled pork and ribs and meatloaf and sloppy joes, etc., etc. I am not as big of a fan of those. So that's why I wanted to get into meal planning, was getting other options in there, trying new things, trying to find stuff that I would like. So we're not eating the same old thing time after time after time. He did not like sitting down with me to research new recipes to add to a meal plan. So our thinking was, if we can sit down and make a lengthy meal plan, we can get on a rotation for however long it is, and then we don't have to worry about trying to come up with, in the beginning, as many new recipes, maybe toward the end not coming up with any new recipes at all. We started writing down our favorite meals, and then I just started thinking, well, we could do a meatless Monday, and then I counted to see how many beef recipes there were. Well, beef, for a protein, according to the doctors, isn't the healthiest protein. So I figured if we could limit our beef to once a week and do our meatless Monday, and then we could do a vegetarian once a week and a fish or seafood once a week. Then that got me up to a certain number, and I told him, I said, we have enough recipes that if I get so many more, we have enough for an 8-week rotation.
And it wasn't 8 weeks worth of recipes that we needed.
No, because on certain nights of the week, we will go out with family. We kind of have a dinner night with his family. And then we'll go out lunch with them occasionally too. So there are other meals that are taken care of that we don't have to plan for. What would have been, 7 dinners a week was cut down to 6. And on church nights, and that's hit and miss depending on whether I cook or not, just depending on how much time we have. If I throw something in the crock pot and we have time to eat, if we just heat up a frozen pizza, or if we decide to have not really a date night because we have the baby with us. The older one to her wellness program, and then sometimes we will catch something out to eat when we drop her off.
Yeah, so essentially we had a week to plan around knowing some of these things, and the way that I sort of got more behind the idea was, as I got more into budgeting, I looked at how much money we were spending eating out, and I was like, if we could just get our eating out budget, our fast food budget, under control, we would have a lot more money we could throw at debt and get ourselves farther along in the Dave Ramsey plan. The two interests sort of corresponded, and I was like, fine, I'll sit here and we can come up with recipes. We started doing things like, well, what are some meals we've had, we really like out? For instance, sweet and sour chicken. I've never had a homemade sweet and sour chicken recipe that could top certain restaurants the way that they do it. And so that made the list of a experimental recipe that we would try every 8 weeks to get closer and closer to achieving that zen. So this is what we came up with. It reached an 8-week. Did you want to do an 8-week to begin with, or were you looking for more like a 4-week?
I don't remember. I think that's just what I could get. I started writing down all of our favorites and then expanded it and then got close to the 8 weeks. So
yeah,
that's just what it came to.
So in terms of building this and laying out what goes where, as she said, we started with the Meatless Monday concept, 8 vegetarian recipes for Monday night dinners.
Which he wasn't too thrilled about. So
No.
That's why they're not extremely healthy meatless meals.
We're a work in progress, aren't we all? We added beef on Tuesday, to sort of recover from having no meat.
Well, that and when we go out with family, we are more likely to get beef out, and having it kind of in the middle of the week helps offset having it too close together.
Yes, that's true. We may be getting beef this night, so we didn't want beef there. One of the things we're least likely to get out because of where we live, not coastal, is seafood. It made sense to stick seafood on
And we're
Thursday.
just, I mean, we like seafood. It's just not something that we're as likely to get out.
And then Wednesday had to be something quick. Sunday lunches were kind of taken care of with lunch with family or whatnot. The Sunday breakfast was left open because over on Saturday,
So on
Breakfast.
Saturday, yeah, we have a lot of casseroles and whatnot for breakfast on Saturdays. I figured if we could do casseroles and we could have leftovers for breakfast on Sunday. If we don't, we could eat something light. We usually have a little bit of something at church anyway in our Sunday school class. So Sundays, we really didn't need to be eating extremely heavy for breakfast.
so day of the week was the first determiner for building this thing. The second determiner was we didn't want to have recipes that were too similar in flavor profile, too close together. One of the things I'll point out there is in week 4 on Beef Tuesday, we have the Sloppy Joe Tater Tot Casserole. And then in week 8, we actually have Sloppy Joe's. Well, that gives us almost a month where we don't have to eat the same thing. And there were
Yes,
some other
much to his dismay, he could probably eat those on a weekly rotation. I cannot.
Yeah, I probably would have been able to come up with 2 weeks worth of recipes that I really like and say this will set us from now until I don't have teeth anymore. If you'll notice how colorful this gets, that was a contribution that I made, which was dishes. Whenever you cook at home, one of the issues that you're going to run into is the dishes are getting dirty. So these colors represent some of the dishes that are involved in making this. A 9x13 pan, which we have multiple of, but we still didn't want to load our dishwasher down with all of them at once. A crock pot, an Instapot, or pressure cooker.
Instant pot.
Instant. There's no NT in this written.
You typed it, not me.
Okay. I'm keeping this in here, by the way.
Go ahead, but in the instant pot community, they throw a fit about that.
That it has an NT.
Because people put it in the community all the time. They're like, it's not instant pot, it's instant pot.
They like their food cooked quickly, but they like to have to say things slowly. But whatever. Blue is a skillet. So that's what all the colors are. And then if you'll notice that some of the recipes are italicized, those are recipes that were experiments or new to us at the time that we created this, which we didn't really care when we were plugging those in where they went, other than we didn't want to have a whole week of experimental recipes. We want to have a few staples mixed in.
And as we go through and make them, I have been adding
Notes.
little notes. You can see that I have the sweet and sour was almost. It was a little vinegary, but the sweetness was there.
I would have called it a sweet and tangy chicken
Yeah.
instead of sweet and sour.
If we have a favorite recipe that we're getting tired of that just didn't taste good, or a new recipe that we didn't like, I'm just marking it off so we don't keep it in the rotation again.
We might run this rotation a few times and see and plug back in some recipes
Yeah.
that we've eliminated possibly. And then over here you're collecting ideas for new recipes.
Yeah, we had a couple of these.
This is sort of the overview of our meal plan, where it came from, what we're doing here, what we're changing as we go along. So we will be releasing some more videos of after we've been through these weeks of recipes, what we took out, what we changed, what we liked, what we didn't like, and so on. And then plans for the future, possibly expand this out to, I would like a 13-week rotation, which allows us to only repeat it 4 times a year.
So once a quarter.
Once a quarter. And then, of course, knowing that, we would know sort of where these weeks fall. For instance, if we start at the beginning of a year, then we know that Valentine's will always fall in this week on whatever. And if we wanted to, we could even notate that in quarter 1, this will be a holiday. So take this out and replace with this or something like that. I'm not exactly sure where that'll lead, but I'm interested to see and curious to see if we can come up with another 5 weeks worth of recipes, because this was not easy, and we've pretty much exhausted the recipes that we have, but we're still gathering. So if you have any good, cool recipe ideas, something you really recommend, I guess you can leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, and keep in mind that we do have 2 little ones. The one is getting ready to turn 4, and the other one is a baby, so I don't exactly have too much time on my hands chasing them around, so quick and easy is always nice.
That's all for today. class dismissed.